3 pro tips for writing great cold emails. 1, talk it out loud first with a coworker and then transcribe it. If you guys have done a one-on-one call with me, I always start with I don't even want to look at your sequence. I just want you to talk me through the problem and how you help people. And normally what I see is that people are much better talking it out loud than they are writing it. And a good hack for that is just talk it out loud, get the language down out loud, how you would talk about it to that person or over the phone with them, and then try to transcribe that as close as possible to the email. The other thing you can do is, instead of creating a template, write an actual cold email to a prospect first. So open up their LinkedIn, personalize it, write it, and then take that final email and then turn that into a template instead of starting with the template first. If you start with the template first, it tends to sound really templated when you do that. Tip number 3 is send it to one of your close customers for feedback or a coworker that's the same persona. The last part, a coworker, that might be a little harder for you guys if you're startups, but send it to a customer. If you have a really close customer, say, hey, would you respond to this cold email? What do you think of it? What would make you respond? Okay, let's get to some of the exercises here. So Scott, did you want to do do you think it'd be a good idea to do a breakout right now and people can kind of work through? So if you guys are looking, and this is exercise 4, what I'd like to do, we got 15 minutes. It'd be cool if we could maybe spend 7 minutes writing this email.
Yeah.
And then we can kind of talk about it for a few minutes.
Let's spend the time. I'd rather have the people actually get, like we said in the beginning, I want people walking out of here with work done, not homework, work done at home. So let's spend 5 minutes or so plugging this in. Like Jason said, you've done a lot of the work already by identifying the persona, understanding situational challenge. So why don't you just take 5 to 7 minutes doing that? And then when you've got your email, pop it into the chat, and then we can just take a look at it and analyze it. Yeah. We'll skip the breakout rooms in getting the work done. And then next time around, we'll do some breakouts. Is that cool with you guys?
Yeah, that's cool. So this first line, you guys, the saw part, just make up something. You don't need to actually find something right now. Let's do a fictitious prospect. I really want to make sure this language is down. I've talked to several people lately. I keep hearing, and then how you talk about the so your situational challenges, a lot of you talk about the challenge in 5 sentences. You're going to kind of need to get that down a little bit more concise into a sentence or 2, right? Cool. Yeah. I'll let you guys get to these emails.
Yeah, I love that. As people are working on that, if you have questions or you get a little stuck, or even if you just want to pull out one of the sentences and say, hey, I'm not sure what I should do here, just throw it into the chat box or take yourself off mute and we'll work on that. So we'll take 5 minutes to do that. And then we'll make sure you walk out of here. You'll have your ICP nailed, which looks like everybody does, your situation analysis, and then your first version of your cold email. This is great stuff, Jason. You reminded me of when I was selling data, real estate data to the financial market. I used to talk to residential mortgage-backed security traders, RMBS traders, and whole loan traders. Yeah. And I did exactly this. I'm like, hey, I was just talking to Tony over at such and such, and he was telling me that he's seeing this in the market. What do you think?
Yeah.
And I was just like, I was just basically pretending I was at some kind of big cocktail party. Yeah. And just, bouncing ideas around and just gets people talking. That's all it is.
Well, that's the thing is people really care about what their peers are doing.
What he's seeing,
especially right now.
What do you?
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Like developing community around your customers and prospects. Like we have a couple teams that are doing hosting events, like small group events, or inviting people just to share ideas, like a round table type of thing, because everybody's just like, what do we do? What is everyone else doing? Thank you, Matt, for setting the timer. Jason, man, your email, you were like, I am ready. What was your email to me this morning? It was like cha-bing or something.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah,
like,
boy.
I'm ready. Yeah, you are. This makes me want to go out and do prospecting. It's one of my favorite things to do.
I love it, dude.
I'll do this on Friday night sometimes. Friday night on LinkedIn. After my son gets to bed, I'm just wrapping up the week and I'll just go through LinkedIn messages or people that connected with me, start conversations. Early morning, I used to do it Friday mornings at Phil's Coffee. here.
Yeah.
And I would sometimes get 3 and 4 chats going in LinkedIn, because I would take this principle, but do it on LinkedIn. Instead of sending cold emails, I would just be sending replies to LinkedIn connection requests. Like I send a connection request, they accept, and then I kick off a quick conversation with them. It's just
the cool part,
it's fun, man.
Yeah. And the cool part, this messaging structure works for LinkedIn messages. When we talk about cold calling in the next training, it's the same structure, you know. There's a little bit of nuance, obviously, with cold calling. You gotta be a little sharper on your feet, but I'm working with a rep right now, an AE from BombBomb. The video, it's kind of like a video. So I'm coaching him on cold outreach, and within his first couple days doing cold calls, he's never done cold outreach before. He's just like, he has these recordings to listen to him, and he's just killing it, dude. You know, he set 2 meetings in his first couple of days, like never doing cold calls before. And he's an AE, so he's doing demos himself. Like he's taking inbound also. So I was pretty excited about that. Oh, we got an email. Okay.
That's awesome, man.
Here,
Alize from Esther. Let's just take, if somebody else has an email you want to put in here, or even just an opening line, because that's personalization that we're going for. Or what was the one piece that you wanted to really focus on, Jason, the middle piece?
Yeah, I got it open up here on the screen.
Okay. Cool.
Alize.
Why
don't you take yourself off mute? Let's walk through this email.
Cool.
Oh, Alize, I've talked to you before. I talked to you last Friday.
Yeah,
exactly.
Friday before.
Yes.
Cool. So I like the first line so far. Like, hey, saw that you've launched a chatbot that recommends beer and wine to your customers. What really stuck out was that you're using technology to enhance the customer experience. So for people that don't know what you sell, like, why don't you tell us that real quick? Because this is really good. This is really connected to what you sell.
Okay, so what we're selling is basically technology that uses AI and machine learning to give personalized recommendations in terms of beer and wine. We sell to producers, so we sell to producers and retailers. We now have focused on big retailers such as Whole Foods and some stuff like that, also in Europe and the US. And yeah, it's all about customer experience and making sure that you have personalized recommendations.
Okay, so I like this. You're pretty close to where you need to be here. So one of the things that you could do to make it a little more situational is, if I remember our conversation correctly, you mentioned something about how this typically happens in strategy calls with their team. So that could add a more situational element where you're like, hey, I've talked to several VPs of marketing lately, and I keep hearing that when they go to do strategy calls with their team, you know, they're having trouble finding ways to differentiate from their competitors on things besides price. So you could add that tiny little element, because that's a thing, a strategy call, that's a thing that they do on an ongoing basis. This is pretty freaking close though to where you want. This part I think could use a little bit of work though. It says, we help you with solving this issue and embrace AI and machine learning to create a unique customer experience on offline. This is full of like features and benefits right here. So what is the relevant like result? What is the result that you guys actually help these grocery stores with? Like, what is the result that they get? They can now do what after you help them?
After we help them, they will eventually have an increase in sales, but especially what's probably the most interesting is that they will be unique in the market by using this technology and stand out. And especially have more data about their customers.
Why is that important?
Because then they can customize their product range, and they can make sure that they have the products that their specific target group really wants.
And why is that important?
Because then they can lower the cost of the products that they're buying, because they can specialize to what their customers want.
Let's do this one more time. So why is that important? Like, why do they need to be able to do that? Like, what's the, so far I've heard like they need to reduce the cost, because these are different things that I remember talking to you guys about. Like, what can they now do? I'm a VP of marketing. I have a marketing department, and I'm having a really hard time figuring out how we differentiate from our competition beyond the price.
Mm-hmm.
Working
By
with you
creating
guys,
this
I can now do one.
Yeah, they can now create this unique customer experience because people can actually have personalized recommendations in something that has never kind of like existed before or that retail chains aren't using right now. So they are creating a unique shopping experience, customer experience.
What does that do? What's the big thing that a VP of marketing cares about?
I would say they're KPIs, but I'm not sure if that's true.
From our conversation last time, what I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, was something around like creating repeat business, right? Like there was a term for that. I forget what that was, but the repeat customers reduce the cost per acquisition. So with
customer
this,
retention.
there needs to be some line around like, I think the customer experience you can talk about, but it needs to be something like, you know, we help grocery stores gather, what was the, what do you call it? Taste preferences? Is that what it was?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so we help grocery stores gather more detailed their customers' preferences so that they can not only create a unique customer experience, but they can drive up repeat business to reduce their cost of acquisition. Like it needs to be something like that, and you can finesse that line a little bit more, but you got to talk about customer retention or repeat business or whatever terminology they use, and like reducing cost per acquisition is something like a VP that's looking at the numbers. Like that's something that they need to do, right? So this, how do we differentiate from our customers beyond the price? The way that we do that is through this like information to provide the unique experience, but I need to know what the result of that is. And then the rest of this is pretty good. Most of the emails, like pretty good. This part needs a little, this could be a little more sticky, I call it.
Okay.
Cool.
Dude, this is great stuff. So Jason, I'm just doing a quick time check. We're coming up here to the bottom of the hour. We've got some other emails in the Zoom group chat that I can pull out. I'm wondering if maybe we could just take those and either I can analyze them or you could, like a quick Loom video, and send it out to the teams. We just post them onto the Slack channel. I think a lot of them
I'm more than happy to take a look at them. If you guys can get them over to me or CC the
100%.
person, dude, I'm more than happy to record a video and run through it. Yeah, we're out of time today. That flew by.
So, of course it flew by.
Yeah. So really, really good. Just to recap a little bit, I would say where in the emails that I'm seeing right now, I think where you guys can really dig further is make sure that challenge is situational, has a time element to it, like something that happens, right, that causes this challenge, and why is that a challenge? And then the relevant result, like not the thing that, not the dashboard or the data, it's what the dashboard and the data give me. What did it allow me to do? Those two things, and you guys are pretty freaking close to where you need to be from a messaging standpoint.